Welcome on into Having Fun Hockey. Brian Little, also known as Adam Unruh, Gerard Turk-Gallant, a fitting name for today, as we'll get into in just 1 second, also known as Jack O'Rourke. Adam, the sky is falling in the Sin City. I don't know if there's any other place in the world we could start. I got off a bird straight down from the Cancun airport, opened my phone, the first thing I see, but to what do my wondering eyes appear, Adam? But the Vegas Golden Knights fire the winningest coach in franchise history, Bruce Cassidy, just 2.5 summers off of a Stanley Cup championship. Winningest coach in franchise history, bringing in John Tortorella, one of the most polarizing names in the sport. Of course, one of the top free agent coaches as well on the sport, in fairness to Torts, but one of the most polarizing names in the sport. Adam, I have 10,000 thoughts on this, 10 million even maybe. As someone who is not directly on top of the situation, what were your immediate thoughts, the first reactions you had to not just the news of Cassidy being out in Vegas, but also Torts being in?
Well, you can see that my smile is like ear to ear right now, just because it's not even about the specifics of the situation. I think it's more so just like everybody else is finally seeing the Vegas Golden Knights panic for once, it seems. Not panic because, these guys are all professionals and they have their ways of going about it. Vegas is just a very aggressive, get out ahead of it style of organization, which we're seeing. But I mean, I think the catalyst for all this, Jack, is it's the first season in Vegas's history that they'll have lost more games than they've won in a season, right? That happened before they made any coaching change, but it was not long after that became mathematically true that all those changes occurred in the front office decided to take action. So how deep do you want me to get into my first reactions here? Because I've got a decent bit that I could probably unpack. I mean, you're the more subjective voice here, I think. So I mean, I can break it down for you because I had a knee-jerk reaction whenever the news first broke. I think it was Sunday night.
Sunday night, yeah.
Yeah, Sunday night. I had a very different knee-jerk reaction than my assessment on Monday morning. Did you have a similar type of response, or do you feel?
Yeah, I think that's actually a great place for us to probably both give our thoughts first on the start, because I think my initial thoughts on it, Adam, were I was not happy right away. I think Bruce Cassidy is someone who is widely considered a top 5 coach in the sport of hockey, and I think anytime that's the case and that's leaving your locker room, you get a little bit nervous. I think it's just such an odd thing, because if you look at the downfall of the Vegas Golden Knights, right? Not to get too level Z on it yet, I want to stay up here at level A for a moment, but it's not your mother's Vegas Golden Knights back in the COVID year where every single game the money line was minus 250, the puck line was minus 180. I mean, you had 4 all-star caliber defensemen. You had the depth on the wings that's no longer there anymore. It's not the same franchise. A lot of these guys who were signed to 5 to 7 year contracts with no move clauses are kind of on the back half of those contracts. And obviously Pietrangelo, that whole situation happened. He's not playing anymore. You can only trade it off for so long, at a certain point you have to pay the Pied Piper. Every single one does in sports. Vegas has tried to challenge that through the first 9 years, Adam. But I think that eventually, when you trade every single first round pick and every single prospect for literally a decade, you'd have to think eventually that's going to come up to get you, because you can't sign a bunch of guys to ELC contracts and have them play in the NHL for $850,000 and you have to go out in the UFA market to get everyone, Adam. I just question, and I still have this thought in my head, and I guess this is what the first thing I want to ask you is, I wonder how much of this year of Vegas Golden Knights hockey, where they, up until they had a heater with the Vancouver Canucks last night, led the league in minutes trailed all season long. Now I think Vancouver took it back, and they're 17 points below the second lowest team in the NHL right now. I think this team had a lot of issues that may have not necessarily just been coaching. That might have been roster construction. That might have been paying back father time. Do you agree with that at all, Adam?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I think that the view that you have right now is very much looking forward to even the next season, rather than maybe the present situation. Because I think that presently they don't have that horrific of a roster, right? You brought up a good point. I was going to say Pietrangelo and the abruptness of him having to, he might not play again is where my head's at, right? Like,
yeah,
nobody was planning on that, right? Like, you got this guy under contract and he's been playing well for you. That's a very abrupt drop off on your blue line to not have a guy like that. So that is something that I think you are definitely correct in that assessment. I think the bottom 6 too for you guys this year is probably the most immediate impact, where you're feeling the lack of organizational pieces being available to you, because in the past you guys had players like William Carrier, you had Tomasz Nosek, you had Nick Waugh, like all those guys, right? Those are invaluable whenever you get to this time of year, which I think Vegas is kind of learning, right? So that is certainly true. I think that probably the biggest culprit for them this year, though, was just the goaltending. The goaltending has been god awful for Vegas this year, and if I'm Bruce Cassidy, I'm probably shaking my head a little bit, because, like, what the hell else can he do if he's putting a 5 out there in front of the goaltender every shift that's giving them a chance, and then it's just squeakers and
I mean, Adam, quick stat for you. I believe it's now, I think 4 of Vegas's last 5 games they've been scored on in the first 5 shots.
Yeah, that's not good, and you can't have goaltending like that and expect to be a team that's over 500. And they're damn lucky that they're in the Pacific Division this year, because I mean, we'll see where they end up come the end of the season. I think that, like, some of these other
the crazy thing about goaltending, not to cut you off, Adam, but looking at it back from where I still think it might be a McCrimmon and McPhee issue more so than a Bruce Cassidy or whoever's behind the bench issue, is really, if you zoom the history of the Vegas Golden Knights into a mini movie, it is just making your goaltender worse every 3 years. Like, it's like, okay, you have Fleury. Fleury's your guy, brings you in the league. Okay, bam, Leonard. Okay, bam, Hill. Or, Hill's been fine, but, like, whenever the Thompson-Hill debate came up, a lot of people are in the Thompson corner on that. That doesn't come to fruition. Like, the goaltending has just gotten hit with a baseball bat over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just a matter of those guys need a summer to reset, because I think everybody would agree that Adin Hill and Logan Thompson are both very capable goaltenders. I mean, Adin Hill won the cup. He was in net whenever they won the cup, and Logan Thompson has got himself a nice pedigree. He was on the Olympic team for Canada this year.
Yeah.
Because, not that they're the strongest goaltending country, but still, like, you got to be good enough to be named to that roster. He's played in Washington a bunch too. Like, that's I am correct in saying that, right? Or am I wrong? Logan Thompson's not there anymore, is he?
He's in Washington. Well, that's what I'm saying is at the time when that chasm happened,
okay,
I would say basically every single time Vegas has had a decision between two goalies, the fan base's pick has never gotten it. Like, it was everyone wanted Fleury, not Leonard. Everyone wanted Thompson, not Hill. Like,
they're talking about Logan Thompson. I was like, he's not there anymore.
No, I'm just saying, like,
you're right.
Back a few years, like,
you're right.
With where they're at right now in the goalie position, like, a lot of people didn't want it to be where it is right now.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So that's the biggest thing for me. So
yep, totally agree.
Let me give you, like, my breakdown on the situation, right? My knee-jerk reaction was that I was probably as dumbfounded as everybody else whenever you see the headline. It's like, holy hell, like, they just got rid of Bruce Cassidy, and
how many games left?
In the same breath, to name John Tortorella as your head coach after you announced the firing of Cassidy, that is what really made me laugh. I mean, that's like you look at you kind of do the Mr. Krabs, like, take my eyes out and like, clean the windshield wipers off and then stick them back in, because that was just not what I expected to see. And so I laughed really hard, because we all know the reputation that John Tortorella's got. And it's like, oh, geez, like, it was almost like the front office and Kelly McCrimmon were like, these guys have had such a terrible year that, like, we're just going to bring in John Tortorella to mess with them for the last, like, 9-10 games of the season and just, like, teach them a lesson. Basically, it's like Vegas doesn't give a damn about anybody, including the guys like on their own team. I mean,
there's no loyalty. It is a strictly winning based organization, or at least trying to. Adam, and before we get too deep on. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Just like the, hey, shake everything up with 10 games left. Obviously, you can't fire the whole entire roster, but Adam, even like when Mark Stone comes out after and says like, yeah, like it just like the voice wasn't really connecting anymore. Like it's rare that like you see a captain who shared a Stanley Cup with the coach not even like really give him a, hey, thanks for it on the way out the door. Like the only way I see a move like this, Adam, is if no one else in the world will tell Jack Eichel, who hasn't scored a power play goal since we were living on Warrensville, that he needs to get back, like he needs to get his shit together. You know, like, I mean, John Tortorella might be the only direct, straight voice you can find on, hey, March 31st to come in and fix your organization with now 7 games to go.
Yeah. So, yeah. And this is still part of my knee-jerk reaction was that the way I perceived it is just as you were saying it is like, all right, Vegas is not afraid to try to do something. They can kind of sense that they'll probably get cleaned out in the playoffs if they go into it with the same crew that they have. And so you're at a point where you can't drastically shake up your roster anymore, right? Like you're beyond the deadline. There's nothing really more that you can do in that respect. So
no money, even if you wanted to.
Correct. And so where do you turn instead? You can shake things up behind the bench. And so, yeah, it's like they're an aggressive style of organization. Like, and like you said, there's no loyalty. It's all about the logo truly there. And the people at the top are not afraid to make those changes. So I kind of do respect them, honestly, in that way for just going after it.
Is there's no one else that does it like that really in sports to the extent that they do. Like you win the Stanley Cup, what are the first 2 things you do? You let 2 of the 3 Golden Misfit line members walk away, including Conn Smythe winner Jonathan Marchessault. So like it's just how they've always been set up. Like Gerard Gallant takes Derek Anglin and James Neal to a Stanley Cup final. He's out the door in 2 years. DeBoer goes to 3 straight conference finals, I think. Bam, he's out the door after they lose. Like, it's crazy, dude. There's no loyalty at all.
The DeBoer one is probably more shocking, honestly, than this one to me. Like the fact that DeBoer had such sound and solid teams with them and still got to go, that was the one that was most shocking to me. But in this particular situation, so after I had, all Sunday night to kind of like laugh about it and just be like, what the hell?
Crack a beer. Yeah.
Yeah. Like come Monday morning, I sat there and I kind of thought about it and I was like, maybe this isn't like the absolute worst fit in the world, right? Because I think where everybody's mind probably immediately went to, and I'm curious if this is what happened to you, but the first thing I thought of when I heard of John Tortorella was, oh my God, Mitch Marner is on that roster.
Yep.
Is that where your mind jumped to?
I mean, yeah, 100%, dude. Like I'm getting you had the initial PTSD of like, hey, you might as well have sent Mike Babcock through that door.
Yeah. Yep, that was the first comparison that I had in my mind, which is like Mike Babcock and then John Tortorella. Now, I haven't played in the National Hockey League. I haven't shared a locker room with Mike Babcock or John Tortorella. So pardon me if I am a little bit off in my assessment here. But from what I would consider a fairly knowledgeable observation of those two guys, I think they both have sort of a, more of a negative reputation, if you want to call it that, just amongst, how easy it is to play for them. Okay. I think that it's very different though between the two. I think that Mike Babcock is all psychological warfare and he will do everything to manipulate you mentally. And that is a lot scarier to me than John Tortorella, who is, by my estimation, just a very demanding, these are the things we're going to do every day when we show up to the rink, right? I think John Tortorella is actually he's very straightforward with people and what he expects. It's not the same as Mike Babcock where you're just playing the guessing game all the time and you have no idea if you're going to get sent to the American League overnight and, get woken up by the security guards at 3:00 in the morning, shaking you and your family, moving you out. Like, it's not like that with John Tortorella. So I think that my initial, like, oh my God, it's John Tortorella, that I got over that really quickly in the context of Mitch Marner. And so you take it a step further. I think that John Tortorella just has a very demanding style that he demands from everybody across the board on the team, right? He's not a coach that is going to treat his star players differently than other guys deeper in the roster, right? Like, what's the thing with John Tortorella? It's the training camps, everybody shows up and everybody does the bag skates and everybody does all that. And when we're in the regular season, everybody blocks shots and everybody sells out and we play a very team style of game. That doesn't really bother me too much. It doesn't scare me too much if I'm a Vegas fan. And I mean, you can chime in here where you want because you're the subjective voice and I'm the objective voice. But if I'm a Vegas fan, it doesn't scare me that much because I think of the top players on my team. I think of Mark Stone. I think of Jack Eichel. I think of Mitch Marner. All three of those guys to me play a very complete game to begin with. I don't think that they're not star players that John Tortorella is going to have to come in and try to drill into their brain what it means to block a shot or check and do those kinds of things, right? Like Mitch Marner kills penalties. Mitch, for as much skill and everything and the behind the back floaty backhand passes that Mitch Marner likes to throw out into the slot, all that good stuff, right? Like the guy, time and time again, you watch his tape, he will block shots. He will track back on defense through the middle of the ice. He has a good stick. He takes the puck away. He does all those things. And the same can be said for Jack Eichel. He takes faceoffs too, Jack Eichel, right? Because he's a center. He plays all the way back behind his own goal line. He helps out on D. Mark Stone
Mark had to play center a lot this year too.
True. Mark Stone famously does a fantastic job of taking pucks away. He's a big body. We know that he will toss his weight around and everything. He's a fearless type of captain. I think that that's the kind of captain that a John Tortorella team is best behind. Honestly, yeah. I'd be a lot more worried if I was like a Riley Smith, right? I'm a guy who doesn't do anything except shoot the puck and dust it off if I've got 5 seconds while I come in down.
Hey, he got a game-winning goal last night.
And other than that, like I don't do anything else, right? I just kind of basically float around out there until somebody passes me the puck, right? Like I think of whenever, Victor Olofsson on Vegas, like what does Victor Olofsson do besides stand on the circle on the power?
I will agree with you. He didn't do shit.
Like,
he doesn't move.
Those are the types of players who would need to be fearful of John Tortorella. So I don't know. Tell me what you think about that.
I was going to say honestly, and I think your assessment of the forward group is dead on, and I think that you paint a very clear picture exactly. Like it's not like you're, gosh, I don't have a great example, but like a Jeff Carter back in the day, I actually it's a terrible. I don't even know where the hell I was going with that, but I think the way you nailed the guys he has right now, like they are two-way players. Like it's not like he has to come in and like, hey, you don't even go in the defensive zone. Like what the hell is going on? Like we got to switch this up. Like you're not getting any of that out of the big three.
Let me give you an example real quick, not to cut you off, but like the situations where you see that Tortorella just doesn't work. Think back to when he was just in Philly last, right? Like who's your best player in Philadelphia? Like Trevor Zegras and Matvei Michkov. What do neither of those guys do? Play a lick of defense.
Exactly.
That's where you butt heads.
He doesn't have to like buck these kids. Like they're all like established two-way players. But honestly, I think it's going to be the defenseman that's going to be a bigger impact with, because I think but I think the biggest complaint of Bruce Cassidy throughout his time in Vegas was that like he didn't really trust the defenseman enough to go up and do what they do best. And if you look at the amount of like resources Vegas has put into that defensive room, like outside, take away like Pietrangelo and making him the highest paid defensive free agent that summer when he came in, right? Like look at the roster right now. Like Shea Theodore, he had that 2020 COVID playoff run where like he scored half the team's goals. Like he's a guy who earned his massive contract that he got at the time, and then an extension again later on because of his ability as an offensive defenseman. Noah Hannafin, you got there and you give up a ton for him. Same thing happens this time around with Rasmus Andersson. Like Rasmus Andersson, who struggled once he got to Vegas too. Like I think it seems like Tortorella has a much higher willingness, and he came out and said this too last night after the game, that like he wants these defensemen to get up into the play, and that Bruce Cassidy didn't really do that a ton. And I think that might be the biggest difference for Vegas moving forward. The one thing it does kind of scare me is like, while it's good that Vegas is returning to more of like a just like going north style of hockey that I think you didn't really see for the last year and a half, I would say almost probably out in Vegas, is like, it almost seems like they want to get a little bit back to like even like the Gerard Gallant days of like literally just like, I mean, not just straight cherry picking, but like having a guy like super high at all times, like just looking to like kind of catch a guy and go, like just playing like risky, like higher scoring hockey. And in normal, I would like that with Vegas because I think Vegas tends to build like faster, grittier, like a lot of the physicality comes from the defense and the bottom six rosters. But like when you're staring down a matchup with Edmonton in the first round, like with the goaltending issues you've had, like with the overall inconsistency of the bottom six and the defense throughout the season, like it does kind of, I guess, scare me a little bit to get out of like a build out from your net straight style of hockey that I guess always kind of gives Vegas the cushion of staying in games in a way, even if they've like gotten off to terrible starts all year long.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm going to lean on you here just because you watch them more often and everything than me. But I mean, you're talking about the blue line and how you want to get them more involved. If Tortorella is willing to free them up a little bit, I don't see how that wouldn't help you. I mean, I haven't watched Rasmus Anderson closely since he got traded there, but I know he hasn't necessarily had the greatest start.
I think he has 3 goals in his last 4, including he had a goal last night, but up until then, like, it was bad.
There you go. But yeah, he didn't hit the ground running really.
No, not at all.
I mean, in the National Hockey League, if you want to be a team that is winning in the playoffs, then I think that you have to be able to lean on your defense to be able to generate something for you, right? Like even if it's not, scoring goals or, producing assists in the offensive zone, anything that's like points like that, you got to have a full blue line that's able to do things like get the puck out of the zone cleanly and deny entries and whatnot. And so you're talking about these skill guys on defense. If they can be able to make plays and be freed up to, get out of the zone the best way that they feel, then I mean that can't.
This is also just a very funny edit. You know who is on the offensive tear of his career right now?
No, I don't.
That would be number 3, Braden McNabb. Like I think Braden McNabb might have more points, maybe like post Olympics, than he has in the last like 3 seasons. Don't quote me on that. That is obviously not true. But Braden McNabb on the tear at the moment, he had a great pass to Riley Smith for the winner last night. But Adam, I mean, I'm sure there'll be more Torts and Vegas to talk about as we go through this, because I mean now it's going to be a headlining fun story to follow. I mean, we're the most fun thing in the Pacific now, I think.
Yeah, I look at the defense on paper, right? Like Braden McNabb, like he's a shutdown guy, right? I think you know what you're getting there from him. But like these 3 guys, like they still have plenty capable of a blue line to be able to do a lot of damage. Like Shea Theodore, we know what he's capable of. He's a play driver. And I mean, Noah Hannafin, maybe not as much as Shea Theodore. I don't know. He's not like the guy anymore. Like I feel like he was the guy in Calgary kind of whenever they got him from out of there. Shea Theodore's always been the guy in Vegas. But Noah Hannafin can still produce plenty fine on his own. We know he skates. Rasmus Anderson is paired with Hannafin. I'm seeing like that should be a damn good pairing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You should be able to lean on those guys. You got an excellent top 4 there. So maybe for what the bottom 6 lacks in, they can kind of make up with having a nice solid decor. Vegas has always had a good blue line, in my opinion. That's one thing that they've always been strong with. So that's good. One other thing too that I want to mention about Tortorella that I don't think can hurt the situation at all is that just talking about Noah Hannafin reminded me of this. Noah Hannafin and Jack Eichel both, right? Like those guys are both Olympians, and John Tortorella was on that staff. He was in the locker room with them. They got to know him. I think that goes a long way, right? Like when you win together, especially the Olympics, you feel some kind of connection, and you want to play for that coach, and that coach wants to give his best for those guys. There's something inherently there.
I was going to say that too. I mean, obviously this isn't the association. It's not like LeBron can just fire and hire a coach at any given moment. Do you think that there's any chance that those guys might have had, when they were just going through like who we're looking at, like, hey, like they were just with these guys, it seemed like they got along, or we've heard them talk highly of Torts before. Like, do you think that could have all been in play? Because I actually thought that when I was thinking of Torts and Vegas connections, that was the first thing I thought it was Eichel being with him at the Olympics.
Yeah, that's fun to speculate about. I feel like it might just be the other way, actually, though. Like, I think that's something you ask John Tortorella whenever you're talking to him.
Oh, like, okay, yeah. Or like, what'd you tell Jack? Like, yeah.
Yeah, like, what were your impressions? Like, how did you guys get along there, basically, type of thing. I don't think Vegas doesn't strike me as the organization that goes to their players and says, what do you guys think? Like, I think they know what they want to do, right? So That's what I see. So yeah, I don't think that they really get significantly worse from the Tortorella move. I mean, maybe there's like a feeling out period. Not that you guys have much of a feeling out period that you can afford
No,
to.
you don't.
But I mean, I commend them, right? Like you got to do something before the playoff starts. Like maybe this gives them some jam. They're probably going to play the Oilers in the first round. I don't know, man. I could see them messing around and beating the Oilers. Truly.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a fun story to watch. That's my biggest thing on it, Adam. As we move towards the play. I mean, but then again, let me say this: when they were down 1-0 after the first against the Canucks last night, I was ready to just like disband across the board. Just give. But and I mean, how much? But 5 points also from the blue line last night too.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing before we move?
Yeah,
on?
of course.
John Tortorella's like not guaranteed anything after the end of this season.
No, he is not.
Right?
Coaching for his job, baby.
I would 100%. I'm going to go on the record right now and say that I don't think that he'll be back for the start of next season. Like I think that this is going to be Vegas as like
you'll be crazy.
We're going to teach you guys a lesson, and we're going to try to do anything we can to shake things up before we go into the playoffs because you guys weren't getting the job done before this season. We're going to bring this guy in. He's going to be extremely tough and demanding on you. Not that Bruce Cassidy wasn't, but he's going to be very demanding on you. And then like if they don't win the Stanley Cup, I don't see like they they're
going to hire too, right?
Someone else.
Peter DeBoerback.
I don't know, man.
It'll be the most Vegas thing ever. Just because then they just go back and go get the old guy.
It would be so funny though if Tortorella just comes and coaches like.
What if they get like swept and it's like he just like
17 total? He's gonna coach like 17 total games, and then like he's just gonna take his jumpsuit home with him and never coach for Vegas again. That would be so funny.
Maybe I mean he's literally like a deadline rental coach, basically.
Yeah, I think it's so funny. I would love to see that. I'm good. That's all I got on Vegas.
Adam, another dumpster fire going on in the sport of hockey is the Toronto Maple Leafs firing Brad Treliving. Treliving, correct? Is how you say it?
Brad Treliving.
Okay, just confirming. We are a show where we pronounce names correctly as well. So we just want to make sure that we're doing that on the program. So, Adam, the story could start in 1,000 places on this, just like we did from where we were previously. Probably the best place to start, and I could be wrong though, would be the trade deadline 1 year ago. Would you agree?
With Treliving?
Yeah.
Remind me of the moves that he did or did not make at the deadline last year.
I believe that would be adding in Brendan Carlo for a first-round pick and Scott Lawton for a first-round pick.
Don't forget that Fraser Minton was involved in the Carlo trade as well. Fraser Minton was part of that Brandon Carlo.
Oh, no, that makes it so much worse. Yeah. I didn't know that. Are you serious?
I swear to God.
Oh, that's why he's gone.
I'm gonna double check right now.
No, I'm not doubting you whatsoever. But that is a great add-on for me that I was unaware of. But yeah, I mean, plethora of moves and non-moves.
It was Fraser Minton, a first-round pick, and a fourth-round pick to Boston for Brandon Carlo, and we'll see who the first-round pick turns into because Boston gets to use that first in the draft this year.
Oh,
and
so that could be a high
pick. What a fantastic deal for Boston because that pick's going to be high at this point. There's a laundry list. Like you talked about Scott Lawton last year too. Forgive me, I don't have everything off the top of my head right now. I saw a great tweet, and I can't give credit to the person who saw it because I also don't remember it off the top of my head. But it's not like it's groundbreaking knowledge. It was just basically, here's all the trades that Brad Treliving has made in his tenure as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And you could go through and argue that he's lost every single trade that he's made as the GM. Like, I think even of like the whole Marner situation, right? Like, couldn't find a way to trade Marner when they were trying to last year. Famously, they tried to deal him for Rantanen, couldn't get that done. And then, you lose in the playoffs again. And then you get Nick Waugh as like a consolation for the sign and trade with Vegas, and then Nick was already not on your roster because you traded him to the Avalanche, like a team that has had so many expectations. He was brought in to get them over the hump because they thought Kyle Dubas couldn't do it. Well, maybe it wasn't Kyle Dubas's fault. Maybe Kyle Dubas knows what he's doing, and Brad Treliving and the Toronto Maple Leafs have no clue what they're doing. They're lost. At what point, like, he's left them in such a
Austin going to leave?
What?
When's Austin going to leave?
I think that you got to move him. Like, I think you got to move all of them.
The whole bottom's about to fall out.
I think you got to move all of them. I don't know what the hell you can get for John Tavares anymore at this point, but like
nothing.
He's a good player, but he's just old.
Yeah, he's old.
The way
I don't know, Adam, it's just like the biggest thing I saw too was just like looking back, and obviously like there was a large portion, or not a large portion, but there was a segment of the Leafs fan base that wanted to keep Kyle Dubas at the time. I mean, a lot of them, if you went on the on Twitter, a lot of comments about him being gone always after every single one of those knockouts. I remember, like, I think it was the COVID one, maybe it was like the biggest, but regardless, you bring in Brad Treliving, who was in Calgary, and if you want to look at a GM, Adam, I think the biggest thing always just like you're remembered for stars, right? Like above anything else, it's what you did with the stars you had in any way, shape, or form. When you have a star like Austin Matthews, what do you put around him, or what do you lose around him, right? When he was in Calgary, I would venture to bet you that the two best players he had at any point in time were Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, two guys who walked out the door the first chance they got, and he couldn't even re-sign in the first place. And
well, Matthew Tkachuk was maybe now at this point one of the more lopsided deals that we've seen in recent memory.
Yeah. Like I mean, like you couldn't get an extension, so like that you have to move him. Like that's like,
yeah.
How does he even end up in Toronto in the first place to make these moves?
I think it's just like the franchise, Jack. This like
first?
I talked about how I was like, I at first my knee jerk for Vegas hiring Tortorella was the laugh, but like when I saw that Brad Treliving was fired, and let me also say that I hope that they let him fly out to the Honda Center with him with the team, and fired him an hour before their game with Anaheim after letting him come all the way out to California. I hope that they did that, because that would be the cherry on top for Leafs mismanagement. Like, yeah, how do you? I don't know. I don't know how they landed on him in the first place, but
it also even
like organization, like how, like you're trying to
nothing in the offseason either, or this year at all.
The objective is so obviously to win, and it's just poor asset management. And like you said, it's about how you surround the group that you've got. And all he did particularly this offseason was they took a step backwards. Now I'll admit I didn't think that they would be this bad this year. Like I don't think anybody had them penciled into.
They've gotten smoked by injuries, right?
I mean, they've dealt with their fair share of injuries, but like that's not an excuse with the roster that they've got.
Yeah.
Right? Like they've got premier top end talent, and I mean, yeah, I don't know where the hell you go at from this point. I would think honestly, like their best chance, the guy they can probably move now, if I was whoever their next GM that they bring in is, Matt Nyes would be the first guy that I try to get every ounce out of in a trade that I could, because you might be able to get more for him than Matthews or Nylander at this point, simply because of the fact that he's younger. Not that they won't get a really good haul for Matthews and Nylander if they trade them, and when I think they should. But I mean, I can't see a way forward anymore for them other than to just blow it up, right? Like you had your core four and you went to the playoffs and you lost all the time. Last year was just like, it felt like they had to do it last year. They had Florida on the ropes. They were up 2-0 in that series. They went to Game 3 overtime. And if you win that game, you go up 3-0 in the series. But instead, they lose. And then it's all of a sudden Florida's right back in it. And we know the rest. So, I mean, felt like they just could never prove to themselves that they could win. And Now it's like the bottom has completely fallen out. Everybody's given up is what it feels like there. So how do you try to press on forward with a group that's already quit on you once? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's just so tough because like in a way also, and I would say as if it was any GM in that spot, not just, I mean, obviously Treliving did not do a great job or do himself any favors, but like you can't do the correct move when you're in that spot in the first place, because the correct move is moving those guys at some point, maybe at the deadline, or maybe it would have been past the season. But as soon as Treliving pulled the pin out of the grenade on this era of Maple Leafs hockey, he was getting fired anyways, you know, like, and honestly, like, as soon as Berube gets fired, really, you'd be on borrowed time if you had done it in like December, for example, right? You know, like there's no, you're basically, you just have to sit in the quicksand and go down with the ship, you know. But with that being said, you still can do like something, you know, like, I mean, with the money that you'd think, even like Marner, like, okay, like, hey, yeah, we can't pay Marner however many bills he needs, right? Like, we, like, whatever. Okay, now we can go out and like move this money around a little bit, right? Like, they gave out Stolar's got an extension, I believe, which might have not ended up looking too great. Klingberg might have gotten a new contract. I forget who the third was, but like what they put into the money they would have allocated towards Marner made no sense, basically. And then they did nothing in season.
Matias Michelli was one that people all
Yeah.
thought would step in and really fill a big void for Marner. You mentioned the Stolarz one. I think Stolarz is like the one guy that I would keep if I were them, if he even wanted to stay, just because he's the only guy on the team that like has any kind of a give a shit factor, it feels like. And your goalie, I mean, he can't even go out there and hit somebody, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like, I think back to earlier in the year, he had like a little bit of contact on him and he didn't like it. And nobody did anything about it, of course. And he like called the team out basically in his post-game presser and was like, you know, without saying it directly, or maybe he was pretty direct in hindsight, but he was basically like, no one on his team sticks up for each other. And I mean, he's only been proven right time and time again throughout the season. And so, like, I think you get to a point, Jack, where it's just a culture thing, right? That's why I think they should tear it down. It's not about like the talent on the ice. Like, I love Austin Matthews. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's a great leader. Everything about him. Like, I'm big on the Austin Matthews stock, but I think that, I don't know. I think a lot of it is the market, to be honest. I mean, you want to, like, there's been a lot of
of pressure,
really a lot of great players that, you know, fan favorite type players, like even from out of market, right? I'm talking about somebody who's not a Leafs fan. You know, you look at this guy and you're like, wow, he's really cool. I want to root for him. Think of like a Matt Sundin type of guy too. But then, like, they just can't win there. It seems like it's almost impossible because of the market, like you're saying. There's ridiculous, delusional amount of pressure. Like, these people are so over the top. It's like I love my hockey team, right? Like, but like, it's a whole new level up there. Phil Kessel. Let's talk about Phil Kessel too. You know, talking about fan favorite type players, dynamite talents. It's like, well, why doesn't it work in Toronto? It's just like, it's a culture.
They run everyone out. They run everyone out eventually. Like, I mean, even if Austin Matthews was there long enough, they'd run him out of town too.
What they ought to do, they got to find somebody to bring in at the top who has won before. Okay, that's where I would start if I was them. I'm not trying to bring in some general manager who like is, you know, is like an assistant GM right now and is like, this is the next step for me. Like, I want to prove something, or they think they see something in him. I don't care about that. I'm bringing in somebody who is an established winner, and then we're going to bring in people who are alpha dogs and want to actually make a change, right? Because that's what they need. It's got to start with the people that you bring in.
Can I give you a bold prediction?
Go ahead.
After the Vegas Golden Knights get bounced in 6, we'll say, against the Oilers in the first round, Kelly McCrimmon finds his way out in Toronto.
I don't know. I would love that personally, because I think Kelly McCrimmon would continue to try to keep his Vegas way of doing things.
Yeah.
his like that's him, right? Like
Yeah.
he's gonna go over there and just try to like do whatever he wants type of thing. And I think that the dynamic between him and the Toronto media would be absolutely fantastic. That would be make for unbelievable theater. So from a fan perspective, I would love that. But I don't think that he would, because I think he's smart enough to not put himself in that kind of situation. So yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating situation that Toronto finds themselves in now. But like, if it were me, I'm blowing it up.
Adam, you want to hit a Puckdoku?
Let's do it, baby.
Doku time here on Having Fun Hockey. I see the Penguins in there, Adam, and that means we are always within play for the possibility. 22, is that our new low score we're looking for?
22 is the lowest uniqueness we've gone.
Okay.
Always. It is currently 5:55, Tuesday, March 31st, standard Eastern time. Have not taken a look at the.
This is our first grid.
Yeah, always upholding the integrity of the game. A lot of Eastern Conference here, which is fun. Goaltender category there, so we can go low.
Adam, could I take the first swing of the bat of the game today?
Yeah, lead off for us, baby.
A name that probably grew our friendship within the sport of hockey, Adam, I would say. For Hurricanes, Penguins, Ruslan Fedotenko.
Oh, because he was part of the Whalers franchise, correct? Am I wrong?
I just thought he was in Carolina, straight up.
I'll be honest, man. Like, I love Ruslan Fedotenko, but I like don't know his DB very intimately.
Okay, I feel very good about it, but I also know that you could get literally any Hurricane Penguin in the world that we could be 1,000% confident on. So if you're not 100 on it, let's just wait.
I'm going to give you one that's going to be lower, probably.
Bang.
We're going to go double Z's here. This is Zarli Zalapski that we're going to throw in the top left. Former first overall pick of the Penguins that was traded to Hartford, which is technically the Carolina franchise. Zarli Zalapski, baby.
Atta way. What a start. What a start.
Now, a really fun name that it's probably not very low, but I just want to say it is Alex Kovalev for Penguins and Habs. That one's really fun. I love Kovalev, but we can go lower than that. We can find somebody else there. Oh, actually, no. I got one for you. George Larocque. Real nice enforcer. Shout out George Larocque.
You gotta love that S at the end too, Adam.
Oh, yeah.
1%. Okay, back-to-back ones.
Let's go, baby. All right. 10 wins in a season. I'm assuming that this has to be with the Penguins.
Has to be with the Penguins, yes.
So, yeah. We could go with Ty Conklin here. I think out of respect, we have to.
Yeah.
I think we have to take Ty Conklin.
Shout out to Jimmy Shannon on that one. 1%. Perfect. Okay, good start.
If we do this for the rest of
the Devils, Canadians, Thomas Tatar.
Domash. I like that, yeah. More people would probably think of him as a Red Wing, so I like being able to use him with the Devils instead.
He was a Devil, correct?
Yeah, Devil and Hab, yeah. That fantastic video of the Montreal fan on the concourse doing the Domash.
Are you good to lock that one in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I love it. Guy just does that the whole video.
4%. Oh, it was a little high, damn.
Not bad. We're okay.
No, we're fine. We're at 7. We're more than fine.
That's a fun name.
It is.
Devils, Hurricanes.
Are you a Seinfeld fan?
I know it not very close to the heart, but like I'm familiar with the decent.
There's one episode where Elaine's boyfriend is a Devils fan. He like paints his face, and it's like the funniest thing ever.
All right. Taylor Hall, top middle, probably going to be really high, but that's a name.
Was Jeff Petrie a Canadian and Red Wing?
Yeah, He might be a little high.
Yeah, we don't have to do that.
Joe Veleno is currently on the Habs. He was formerly on the Red Wings.
Not that long ago either, right?
Yeah, no, pretty recently. Who else is like right in there? I should
Did Nino Niederreiter play for?
Not for the Devils or the Red Wings, but I like where your head's at.
Was Tony D in the top row at all?
Who?
Tony D.
Tony DeAngelo? No, not for those teams. Shane Gostisbehere works top right if we want that.
Oh, he wouldn't be that high, right?
Well, I don't know. He's just a little more recent, is all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like.
Was Talbot ever a Hurricane?
I don't feel comfortable with that, to be honest. I keep thinking of Igor Larionov for the Red Wings. I know that Igor Larionov played for the Sharks when he wasn't in Detroit.
I don't know anything about his history.
I feel like I'm just associating him with the Hurricanes because he had an overtime game winner in the Cup final against them in 2002. I really want to. That's tough because I want to say him, but I can't comfortably do that.
How long ago was Corey Schneider in New Jersey?
Are you looking at the 10 wins there? I was thinking of him too. I was thinking of him. I was thinking of Jake Allen. I was thinking.
Oh, I love Jake. Was Brian Elliott ever there?
No, I can't say that.
I like Jake Allen.
I know we've used Jake Allen before for the Devils, and he hasn't treated us poorly. Because, like, Markstrom is going to be up there.
Yeah.
Brodeur is obviously going to be up there. Good luck naming a goaltender before Martin Brodeur. And, yeah, like we said, in the interim, it's like Corey Schneider, basically, right? And, like, Markstrom. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with doing.
Eddie Lack ever in New Jersey?
No, Eddie Lack was on the Hurricanes. I know that. He was on the Hurricanes. He was on the Canucks. Those are the two teams I remember Eddie Lack from.
Should we lock in Corey Schneider?
Keith Kincaid never won 10 games. He didn't win 10. He wasn't that good.
You know what I think we should do? I think we should hold off on the goalie wins.
Okay.
And we can use them as like if we end up having some room to play with, let's go Corey Schneider. But if we don't, like, hey, maybe Keith Kincaid's 5%, you know?
Okay, fair enough. So we've got a couple options there.
Patrick Eaves ever in Carolina?
Played for the Ducks. I don't know about Carolina, though.
Brian Giunta?
I keep thinking of, like...
I think Giunta was a Hurricane, actually.
I don't know. I can't say that. I know Giunta was on the Bruins and the Blues. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other Red Wings goaltenders here for 10 wins in a season. Like, I've got Peter Mrazek is a name that comes to mind for that one.
How high do you think Jimmy Howard would be?
Probably decently high. He followed up Chris Osgood. He was like the predecessor. Or sorry, not the he was like the successor to Chris Osgood. And
Alex Lyons probably too recent.
Alex Lyons recent. Dominic Hasek was before Osgood. They had like Mike Vernon in that. Like, I feel like they've had very iconic goaltenders there.
I feel like Vernon could be lower.
Mike Vernon, maybe. But like, my only worry is that I don't know, he is a little older though. So like, maybe people don't put him, but I still think Peter Mrazek would be lower than.
Yeah. I like Mrazek.
Are you comfortable doing that?
Yeah, I'm comfortable throwing that in right now.
Okay, let's do Mrazek then.
3%, perfect.
That's
huge.
Wonderful.
That's huge.
Let's think of some other like just random ass like Jacob De La Rose. Jacob De La Rose for Canadians and Red Wings. You gotta You got to trust me here.
1%, bang. When have I? If you say ooh before a name, when have I ever not started typing it immediately?
Okay, that one felt really good.
It should.
That one just came to me out of nowhere. Okay, we've suddenly got a lot of room to play with here.
Yeah.
This is really fun.
Pacioretty was never a Devil or a Red Wing.
No. This could be one where we could get really sneaky with a goalie, maybe. Like I feel like, Alex Nedeljkovic works top right, Jack.
Should we lock him in?
I'm hesitant. Did he win the Calder Trophy, or was he a finalist at the very minimum? But anyway, he definitely works up there. Definitely works.
I mean, I don't see him being higher than like 5%, right?
Do you want to do him or Gostisbehere?
So let me say this. Personally, I feel more comfortable with Gostisbehere, but I feel like every single time the last like 2 or 3 days I've made the final choice, I've made the wrong one.
Well,
I'm in my own head a little bit. I won't lie to you.
Let's take Ned. Let's do Alex Nedeljkovic. He's bounced around a decent bit since his time there.
9%. Okay, hey, and we're alive.
Nah, that sucks. That killed us. That's on me.
No, we're fine.
I think he'd be 9% high. Okay. 10 wins in a season for the Devils.
We got to go Keith Kincaid, right?
I don't think he ever won 10 games for them, dog. I just don't think he did.
Yeah.
Did Belfour play for them? I feel like Ed Belfour played for the.
I trust you on it.
For some reason,
I think Mike Vernon would be.
Actually, I don't know. Ed Belfour was kind of the same era as Brodeur. What were you saying?
How high do you think Mike Vernon would be?
Well, he was for the Red Wings.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
No, you're good. Like Jake Allen is the other one I was thinking of.
Yeah, he'd probably be lower than Corey Schneider, right?
Probably. Jake Allen, Corey Schneider. Yeah, it's like Markstrom, Brodeur.
We could still get a 30 rarity score grid.
Do we think that Belfour played there? Like Ed Belfour played for Dallas. Who else did he play for? He played for Chicago.
I know Dallas and Chicago. Those are the two I know.
Man, I feel like I can see him in a Devils jersey, though, man. Okay, let's see if we can get like a 1% up top, and then if we can get a 1% up top, then I think we shoot Ed Belfour just for you down low. Otherwise, we just do Jake Allen if we can't break the record. So up top, you've got Taylor Hall. Oh, Brett Pesce. Brett Pesce is one that works for both of those there.
Yeah.
He's a little more recent, but not a lot of people. He's like a defensive defenseman, you know.
Yeah, I mean? I think I would be fine locking that in and thinking it'd be below like 5%.
Okay, let's do Brett Pesce. Because like Dougie Hamilton is probably really up there.
Okay.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay.
Let's go Jake Allen for a good low grid.
Yeah, let's go Jake Allen here. We'll probably come in at like 35 is my guess, which is a fine.
Hey, Adam, that's a good grid. That's a good grid right there. That's still a good Doku. That's what the people want. That's what the people need. Welcome back in to Having Fun Hockey. Adam, that was a good Doku still, right? Right below 30 or right above 30. Nothing wrong with that. But it's time for the good guy of the week. We aren't letting can just we have our winner. And Adam, I think the reasoning you gave for it is phenomenal. I'm not going to take your thunder on it, but please tell me and the folks at home why Radko Gudas is the good guy of the week and why it would never happen in any other sport.
Yeah, well, we call it the good guy of the week, but I think really it's just like, why is hockey better than every other sport segment? And there's just a particular individual who exemplifies that every week, it seems. This week, it happens to be Radko Gudas, right? The same guy we were just previously talking about for taking out Austin Matthews for the entire season. Like, now he's like the staple, like face of the league for like, this is why we're better than everybody else, because first game back against the Maple Leafs, they all got chewed out by everybody in the organization and their media because nobody wanted to fight and stand up for their captain after his season got ended by Radko Gudas. So after taking a brief 2-week pause, the Maple Leafs all learned how to fight, and Radko Gudas actually got hurt over the week before the weekend. And so he missed the game, but was like emphatically telling everybody on the Ducks, like, I will play on Monday night against the Leafs. And he was not going to miss that game. And the game, it went exactly how we all expected, which is Radko Gudas lined up for the opening faceoff, and the Leafs sent out their gladiator, who happened to be Max Domi. And Max Domi beat the living hell out of Radko Gudas right off the faceoff. And then they went to the box, and that was pretty much it, right? So I thought it was just a fantastic example of, like the code, right? It's the player's code. Like, Radko Gudas understood what was going to happen. He wasn't going to run from it. He knew that it would only be prolonged if he did, right? Like, he's not going to not play against the Leafs for the rest of his career, So
no, absolutely. I think there's two great examples I have of this as well before we show the video, Adam, and kind of get a quick glimpse at that and talk about it a little bit more after, is that I think if you look at baseball, for example, right? Like maybe you bat flip a home run against a certain pitcher on a walk-off, or you do this or that. Maybe like a nice little Derek Dietrich battle with your Pirates back in the day, if you will humor me on that. If you're not in the lineup the next time around, one of your buddies is eating a fastball in the ribs. Like if Radko Gudas doesn't play in that game, the Maple Leafs are still responding in some way, shape, or form, even though he's not out there against the same team. So credit him for going out there and taking his comeuppance so his guys don't have to in the first place. Because I think a lot of sports, you would just see, like we said, like, hey, one of my buddies can take it, and then we'll do it again. But I think another great thing with that too, you said he can't just play, he can't just not play the Leafs the rest of his career, is Jose Mesa, closer, Game 7, 97 World Series for the Cleveland Indians. Blows the lead. Omar Vizquel, the star shortstop of the team, writes his autobiography while he's still playing. Adam, never a good decision to write your autobiography while you're still playing. Writes about how he could see ghosts through Jose Mesa in that Game 7, 9th inning as Mesa blows it for Cleveland as the longest World Series drought in history since the Cubs continues. Every single time after that, Omar would try and get out of the lineup, but Jose Mesa legitimately probably threw at the guy like the next 9 times they faced each other. So yeah, there's bad blood that lives in sports. And Adam, without further ado, let's take a look at this, because here's just a guy, as you mentioned, taking the medicine.
Yeah, no other sports league are you going to get this, where you can just go at it toe to toe right here and atone for everything that already happened.
The Domis are a fighting family too.
Yeah, absolutely they are. And credit to Max Domi, because I really think that like him and Anthony Stolarz are probably the only two guys on that roster that would have gone out and done this right in the moment when Matthews got hurt, if they were able to, right? Like Stolarz is a goalie, but Domi's on the bench when it happens. It's a 10 game suspension if you come off the bench to fight. So like obviously he didn't do that, but I mean, yeah, like he's the kind of guy on that team that I would expect to do that. So good for Max Domi going out and doing it, but still kind of pathetic that they had to wait 2 weeks for it. All that to say, good for Radko Gudas. I mean, I think of a guy like a Joel Embiid who it's like, imagine if Joel Embiid had like a real hard foul on a guy like across the face or something and like cut him or something like that. And like could you imagine like the Wells Fargo Center, like the 76ers have these guys come back to town and it's like, all right, like this guy knows that he's going to go after Joel Embiid right off the tip. And it's like, oh, Joel Embiid he just hurt his leg again. He can't.
So Tyrese Maxey is going to get pummeled instead.
Joel Embiid's over in his like Louis Vuitton jumpsuit there, sitting on the bench with everybody else. He can't go tonight, right? Like that just doesn't happen here. So good on Radko Gudas. I thought it was fun.
No, Adam, a very fitting good guy of the week, and we are never, ever in the history. You'll know that aliens came and took our bodies and did an episode of this if we don't do a HockeyDB. Because if we're here, Adam, we are going to give you a HockeyDB. Uno, you don't get a nickname like Tiger for no reason.
Yeah, what we're looking at right here, Jack, is Dave Tiger Williams And just at first glance, when you take a look at the DB, he's a consummate professional, as you can tell, plenty of years in the league. And he's playing in years that are tough to stick around in, right? Like that's a long career in an era that is not easy to hang around for that long. Now, admittedly, when we did the grid, I didn't realize that he finished his career with the Whalers. So, that's a hand up there on us. He also had a brief stint with the Red Wings too. But look at the penalty minutes this guy's racked up. The most in NHL history. That's 3,966 PIMs, man. I mean,
Adam,
that's a tough guy.
Adam, do you think there's another player in hockey history that can boast 3 separate occurrences of back-to-back 300 PIM seasons in the NHL?
I don't know. We'd have to go and dig at the numbers. It's probably very rare if it has happened. Incredibly, incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive. And like, don't forget too that like, again, if you saw a guy in 2026 that had these kind of penalty minutes, he would have like 5 points on the season, right? Like Tiger Williams is putting up some decent stats here too, right?
Dude.
Like, don't forget that these guys can all play. It's just that the era that he played in, like the 70s and 80s, it was just like every man for himself, right? Like we're talking clutch and grab era. We're talking fighting is far more prevalent than it is now. So like good on Tiger Williams because he was not just a straight up goon. Like this guy played the game on the line. I mean, I think of Tiger Williams probably most famously like he scores for the Vancouver Canucks and he's riding his stick for his celebration down the ice, right? Like he's that guy. So like just a hell of a player, man. I mean, I'm looking at his year in 80-81 with the Canucks where 343 PIMs, but also like we're tucking 35 goals. We've got 62 points on the year. Like that's a hell of a year, man. Like,
and dude, a year later, imagine having 10 points and 100 PIMs in the same playoffs.
Yeah, man. Like 17 games played, 116 PIMs. That's a staggering number. But I mean, that is just so fun, man. It's so fun. That's what you can't get from any other kind of era of hockey other than this one that Tiger Williams dominated. And he's not like a huge guy either too, right? Like shout out to HockeyDB with the great statistics that we all need, like 5'11", 190. Like, he was just like he was just like a piece of shit to play against, right? It's not like he was just going out there as like 6'7" and like I can just beat up all these guys because I want to. Like, nah, man, he was like a honey badger out there. So I mean, just a really, really fun ride here to go down and look at the numbers, staggering numbers. And I mean, like even in juniors too, like back-to-back 100-point seasons, and like the Swift Current Broncos, like you're playing out in the Western League. Guys, it's so fitting that the number one PIMS leader in league history is a product of the Western Hockey League. It's just it's unbelievable to get the full like career trajectory laid out for you here so wonderfully on HockeyDB. I mean, it's so awesome, man. I wish he could have got to 1,000 games. I'm sure he does too, but like still hell of a career and 513 points in the National Hockey League to go along with it. Good for you, Tiger Williams.
Nothing to scoff at, for sure. Adam, any other final thoughts for us this week before we depart?
Final thoughts, shout out Macklin Celebrini. We can get into this a little bit more maybe next week. And maybe we just kind of revisit like his season as a whole whenever we kind of get towards the end of the regular season. But 100 points on the season, 101 officially, actually. But he had like 3 points alone in the first period. I think he might have ended the night with 3 points, but he's up to 101 points on the season. Sixth teenager in NHL history to have 100 points in a season. That is not easy to do. I think he's better than a lot of us kind of really expected. Like there was a ton of hype, but like in my mind, he's exceeded a lot of the hype. So that was the only other really like notable thing that I wanted to call out before we dropped off. I would like to come back to that though as we wind on the regular season, but still deserves to be acknowledged.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam, we'll let you out of here with a trivia question. So make sure, guys, to like, comment, subscribe. Anything helps us out a ton. The more people that listen, now we're gonna do it anyway. So I guess there's not really much incentive besides that'd be cool if you did. But the trivia question of the week for you, Adam, as we get out of here: there was one player in NHL history, Adam, who has been an ECHL champion, a AHL champion, and a Stanley Cup champion. That'd be a Kelly Cup, a Calder Cup, and a Stanley Cup. Do you know who it is?
This is a tough question, and I'm disappointed because I know that this has come around before. I got one name right now that I want to say, but I'm not incredibly confident in. And I'm going to kick myself when I hear this player because I've definitely heard the name before. My guess is going to be Pat Maroon.
Oh, it's a great guess. Do you want the answer?
Yeah, I'm not. It's going to take me too long to sit here and think.
It'd be number 83, Jay Beagle.
Jay Beagle. I knew. Yep, you're absolutely right. The Hershey Bears, the Washington Capitals, and then I don't know where he won in the Cheese Toast League, but
might have been the Idaho Steelheads. You'll have to fact check me on that, though.
Good question. I should know that, and now I certainly won't forget. So, shout out Jay Beagle,
and shout out to Brian Little, also known as Adam Unruh, and for Gerard Turcolant, Jack O'Rourke. We'll sign off. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8 a.m. having fun hockey as we close in on that playoff chase. We'll get some Max Celebrini talk in, and we'll see what else we got. I mean, hey, didn't know we were going to talk about this time last week, right?
The whole league and the standings are going to be completely different in a week from now. So
you and the Blue Jackets will be good again. Who knows? All right, we'll catch you real soon.